If you've ever left a deadline until the last minute because you've been procrastinating, or you've pushed your revision until the last week before the exam and had to study like crazy just to cover all the material before the exam date, then this video is for you, because I've been using this strategy for maybe the last 5 years or so, and I genuinely believe that it's maybe the most effective and underrated anti-procrastination strategy out there. It will do 3 things. It will help you procrastinate significantly less, considerably decrease your stress levels, and help you perform at a much higher level to what you are right now. It's a win-win, right? So first you need to understand what is called the procrastination action line. And this is where you procrastinate and procrastinate, but as the deadline inches closer, the pain of procrastination, that kind of guilty feeling, gets stronger and stronger. And as you get closer to the deadline, the pain gets stronger until there's so much pain, you know you need to start on the task. And so finally, you take action. And I know you can relate to this because it's an exceptionally common problem, right? Where you procrastinate so much that pain just becomes almost unbearable, so you're forced to take action. And at this point is the action line. But what's interesting is that after you take action, the pain decreases back to lower than the original levels because you're no longer procrastinating. And I think this diagram really illustrates how illogical procrastination is, in that firstly, we're putting ourselves through more pain by pushing our work back, but also our work is at a lower quality because we're having to cram it all in just before the deadline. It doesn't really make sense, right? So I saw this time and time again at university where students wouldn't revise for their exams throughout the whole module. They just couldn't find the motivation. There was no time constraint. If you have months until the exam, why worry about it now, right? But I'd see the same thing happen every exam season, where students would realize their exam is just around the corner, so they'd be cramming in the library, pulling overnighters, people were exhausted, I regularly saw people crying, and this happened every single exam season like clockwork. But there's a very simple solution to this, which I'll explain shortly, but first I want to announce the launch of the productivity algorithm, which is going live very soon. It's everything you need to fix your procrastination problem in just 2 weeks. So I'll be teaching you live every single day in workshops. On top of that, there's more than 6 hours of interactive lectures, a 50+ page workbook with exercises and activities that you can fill in and go through yourself. There are quizzes, a private community. You get free access to the Transform Your Grades course, which is really good if you're a student, and numerous other bonuses too. And we take a holistic approach to dealing with productivity. There are 12 fundamental pillars that you need to have in check. For example, your mindset, your health, the systems and tools you use, how to stay focused, basically 12 topics. And if you're able to master all of these, your productivity will skyrocket, believe me. I'm gonna leave a link in the description, but don't hang around. We only have 6 slots available because we want to keep the workshops relatively small and interactive. I want to personally track each student in the course, and I can't do that if there are hundreds of students. So as you can imagine, the slots are filling up fast. Click the link in the description below if you're truly committed to taking action and turning your life around. So as I was saying, there's a very simple solution to avoiding workload from becoming overwhelming just before the deadline. And this is what I did for my entire 3-year bachelor degree. And it really does work because I never, not even once, entered an exam room unprepared. Never. I organized each subject into what I call projects, meaning there's a start date and an end date. And the start date is the present date and the end date is the date of the exam. And then I took all the material that I needed to learn and distributed it equally over the period of the project. So if I had 30 topics to study for the exam and the exam was in 2 months, it meant I had to study on average 1 topic every 2 days. And this worked so effectively for 3 reasons. Firstly, it distributed my entire workload into bite-sized pieces, right? It's less overwhelming and more manageable, therefore I'm less likely to procrastinate. Secondly, it imposes time constraints into my schedule. So I now have the pressure of, if I miss 1 day studying, then I'm going to have to study twice as much material the next day. And that in of itself helped motivate me and prevent me from procrastinating because I had a tight schedule to keep me on track. And thirdly, I wasn't cramming the week before the exam. Instead, I was just steadily studying throughout the entire 60 days, so the whole process was completely stress-free, and I got better grades as a result. So my action line looked like this. The pain levels were incredibly low throughout, and they were stable. I didn't really get stressed because there was no rushing and panicking with the deadline approaching, and I could actually enjoy the work that I was doing. It's a massive improvement compared with the action line when we procrastinate, right? So the idea of kind of bundling your tasks into a project so you have a start date and an end date and then distributing that workload evenly is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated productivity strategies. It's genuinely a game changer. And another game changer, my 12x productivity system, the 12 fundamental core principles that you need to have in check in order to stay productive long term. I made a video recently on each step. You can click on the card on the screen to watch that. Alternatively, I made another video on how I manage my time to 2x my productivity. Again, you can click on the card on the screen. And if you're ready to make that commitment to significantly improve your productivity, to take action, to live a more fulfilling life, there's a link in the description to the Productivity Algorithm live cohort course. Like I mentioned earlier, we're only offering 60 slots, so get in there fast. And if you do, I'll see you on the inside.